Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It is Friday. As always, we're brought to you by Reckless Coffee Roasters. But yes, it has never been more reckless, Anand, than today. But yeah, we'll talk some about yesterday. Obviously, the boys talked a lot about it in the Thursday night podcast, but hopefully I think a lot worse stuff would be said if we did it right away. But now that it's been 12 hours, 16 hours, whatever, Anon, I don't know if we can say anything better than we would in post match, but where are you at?
Just not where I thought I would be on a Friday morning after a Thursday night game. That's the best way to put it. Everything was wrong. And this is probably the worst club side I've ever seen. This is probably the worst performance under Jurgen I've ever seen. Hated every second of it. So many bad things. But there's one good thing to take away from that. Cody Gakpo. That's the only good thing to take away from that game. And I'll leave it at that because it's too early for me to be this upset.
I mean, that's the thing. He looked I don't know. I watched that game, and I do agree. I don't know if it's the worst because man, we've had some stinkers along the way, but especially in this first few years. But first time in a long time, it's kind of looked. I don't want to say hopeless. I don't know if hopeless is not the right word, but it's almost like looked out of ideas and just a little disinterested too, Kazi.
Yeah, I think I call it disjointed more than anything. Like, there's a bit of endeavour there, but that was about it, really. You know what I mean? We just got outplayed, outthought, outfought all over the park.
Yeah.
No one, yeah, Cody played pretty well, but other than that, no one really played well. Everyone was kind of poor, really. Costas probably his last start of the season. Horrific.
You know, that's funny. I was thinking about that as I was watching him because we talked about it in the pre-match.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's our answer.
Yeah, I mean, Canate, horrific. Joe Gomez, horrific. Most of the midfield, all bad. Darwin, horrific. Like Diaz when he came on, horrific. Just poor. Everyone was just poor. The only one who kind of showed light is Gakpo and probably Jota when he came on. Jota looked sharp. Considering he's barely played, he looked like he was kind of in the mood. He's the only one who actually ever gets in the 6-yard box, isn't it? No one else gets in the 6-yard box. He's the only one who actually takes a chance and goes out and make that run forward and I'll make that run in front of the defender, and he gets small opportunities, which he did towards the end. So, yeah, it's as bad as it can be in terms of a performance, but it's worrying in the sense of the timing of the performance. But there's a part where I just think the lads are fucked. It's just they're knackered, and they've just been kind of ran to the ground a little bit. Everything's been blood and thunder. Liverpool haven't won a game 3-0 in ages. It's always life or death. Every single game's life or death. It's like every single. You can't just go out and win a game 3-0. Do you know what I mean? Like the other two sides do. Like they beat Luton 2-0 Arsenal last week. It was just the most comfortable 2-0 ever. Do you know what I mean? So Liverpool don't have comfortable 2-0. So we'll see what happens, mate. But listen, the one thing I expect on Sunday is a reaction, and I'm sure we'll get one.
That was the thing, when we looked in the pre-match on, we said, hey, the midfield is solid, so we're relying on the midfield to carry us, and then something will happen up top. And then it wasn't like, we still have Van Dijk in the back and stuff like that. Van Dijk and Konate, normally, in most cases, that you would say that's your 1 and 2 center back pairing. It just looked, we had no control in midfields for one. They didn't protect the back line, and obviously the back line did not do themselves any favor. But I was more probably disappointed in the midfield because Endo looked like the Endo of the first few weeks of the season. And you got to give credit to Atalanta. They knew when to press, when to push. They knew when to go at Endo, for example, and he was losing those balls that was kind of had us worried in the first few weeks of the season. It was like flashbacks.
Yeah. Oh, but another very big thing is I have a feeling there was a little bit of complacency going into this game. Maybe there was no respect to the opponent. Maybe nobody thought what Atalanta can do. But this is a team that also needed a reaction because their last league game, they lost to the team that started match week in the bottom 3. So Atalanta came in wanting to give a reaction to their fans and their manager. I don't think they expected to do what they did, but I also don't think they expected us to be this bad. This, like Cody said, uninterested. The midfield was in shambles, and it felt like everything was falling apart the more they played together versus where, teams, they play a little longer, they gel, they do better. It felt like the longer these guys played together yesterday, the worse they got, the more uninterested they become. I was very disappointed in Szoboszlai. To me, one performance to highlight that I was looking forward to watch and ended up being the complete opposite was Szoboszlai. That third goal, and I'm not the guy that likes to, I blame you for that goal, I blame you for that. But if Szoboszlai got rid of that ball just 1 second sooner, the whole third goal.
What the thing is, right before the goal, he did the same thing to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. And Van Dijk was like, what the fuck? Because, he just tried to dump the ball on him on the last second. And Van Dijk is like, what the heck? He grabs it, gives it back to him. He went to the other side and threw Konate under the bus instead.
Yeah.
He's like, I guess I'll take on Konate kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, he actually, when he first came in, beginning of the second half, Kazi, I was like, oh, okay, we put the troops in. You can see Robertson on the left-hand side, bombing down. Okay, that's looking better. He actually had a solid game, I thought, overall, within, probably lost in the mix over here between, or maybe he looked better than everybody else because everybody else was bad. I know which one. But he started out well, but even with Gakpo, for example, in the second half, Szoboszlai, I just saw a lot of players trying to win the game or bring back the team by themselves as opposed to just trusting the system. Is it because all these new guys do not trust the system at the end of the day? Or everybody wants to be a hero? It was very frustrating to watch.
For 9 years, we watched Jurgen Klopp sides, and the worst, we are at our worst when we try and rush everything. We just try and rush things and just try and pot shots from everywhere and just trying to force things. And you're like, just keep passing the ball. The chances were coming when we actually passed the ball and we were just going from side. The chances were coming. Opportunities did arise. Do you know what I mean? And what happened was in the second half, everyone panicked. You'd all panicked when you just lose the game 2-1. Lose the game 2-1.
Yeah.
I don't understand Liverpool sometimes. When we have bad first legs, fuck me, we have bad first legs, don't we? We can't. When was the last time we lost the first leg 2-1? We went to Barcelona, lost 3-0. Real Madrid last year 5-2. You're 2-0 up. 5-2. You know what I mean? You just blow up. You just panic. You've got to win. You've got to win in Anfield. What the fuck? Just lose 2-1 and beat them in their fair ground. Do you know what I mean? And go bad day at the office, but we're still banging the tie. Yeah. And now we are slightly in the tie because of Liverpool. Otherwise, if it was anyone else, I'd say we're not in the tie. But because it is Liverpool, you kind of say, if you score one the first 10, you never know. You know what I mean? So that's the weird part of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at, though, right? I mean, with the chances of advancing, Anand, if you gave me a percentage, what would you give? I think this makes it harder that we're going away to do it. And, I don't know, with the Barcelona game, for example, I mean, obviously everybody is going to kind of go to that, right? It's to compare. The first game, it didn't look like it was a 3-0 game. It should not have been a 3-0 loss, right? Definitely. So we pretty much outplayed them and we should have probably won that. Yeah. And we were coming back home. This one, it felt like the longer we played, the worse it would get. And now also we're going away, Anand. Ryan is optimistic. I want what he's having. I'll have what he's having.
Yeah. So that was the question first. Do we go what Carragher said and just go on and play the kids in the second leg and focus on the league, or go for the comeback? Go for the comeback. You're going to concede that Atalanta has won 9 out of their last 10 games at home. We're not going against a team that's struggling at home. They even in the league, they're absolute dog shit. But when they play at home, they turn into this machine. So I don't want to be that guy, but I say the chances are just not there. Maybe go out there and put a performance and go for that 1% chance. But I'm not on a 30% or a 50 or a 40%. I think it's a 1%. And that 1%, once kickoff starts, will either go up and down based on what team shows up. Is it the guys who just were uninterested yesterday, or is it the guys who are ready to play? Which Mo Salah showed up? Is it the one that has been absolute, I don't know what's going on with him for the past few games, or is it the one that's hungry to win, the never give up Mo Salah? So I don't see a chance to advance because we're not at home. But I'm gonna give it 1% just because it's my club and I want to be confident.
I think there's an argument here, Tim. Right? If the away goals counted, you probably say less because look, you can win 3-0.
That's true.
You can win 3-0 and go to extra time, 4-1 and go to extra time. Do you know what I mean? Like that's doable. But when it sounds like, oh, if the away goals counted and Atlanta score first, you go, fuck me, you got to score 5. Do you know what I'm saying? Or 4.
No,
like,
then you got to score 4 and you'll be through. Actually, it'll be even better for us.
It wouldn't. I mean, if Atlanta scored, is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? And then their away goals can't, starting to count up. So for me, Tim, I think it's Parky's right for 10%. I'm about 10%. I am, but it comes down to it. Yesterday we had chances. We did have a couple of little opportunities to score. The Darwin does a Darwin thing, and then Elliott's unlucky, isn't he?
Yeah.
Elliott, when he hits the bar and post, it's just so there's a few things there where Liverpool take the lead. I think Darwin has probably 2 chances. The one where he goes 1-on-1. Yeah, no, we say it all the time. He can't miss. You just can't miss, and not miss the target. He missed the target, which is like that's what makes it worse. If it's on target and you make like Kelleher, for example, makes a couple of big saves yesterday.
Yes,
I know he makes some mistakes. But they go 1-on-1 and he makes big saves. I'm like, if you're at Atalanta, he goes, makes it unbelievable. I've forced him into an unbelievable save.
Force him into a save, right? Hit him on target, force him to a save.
He's giving the keeper an easy way out because he's hitting the fucking ball wide. Do you know what I mean? So he gives the keeper an easy way out. And again, I know I don't want to keep digging on him. We know what he's like, and I think this is just the type of player he's going to be for the rest of his career. People go, "Oh, it's going to click." Well, it's been fucking 2 years now at Liverpool. He's still doing the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So maybe he's just this type of player where he's a 1 in 3 chance kind of guy. But at Liverpool, that stands out at Liverpool. You know what I mean? I used to say about Robbie Keane all the time. Robbie Keane and these type of players, Jermaine Defoe. You can be a 1 in 3 striker at Spurs. You can't be at Liverpool. You can't. It's a different level altogether. You can't. You got to take these big opportunities when you get them. He has that opportunity.
Timing-wise, if you're gonna do 1-3 against like fucking Sheffield or something when you're up 3-1, knock yourself out.
Of course, mate. But I mean, that big opportunity. I think it was 0-0 when he goes 1-on-1. Take the lead. You go 1-0. Liverpool win the game. We all know this. I don't want to keep digging on the lad again. You know what I mean? Because everyone feels like I've got like a vendetta. I don't. I want the lad to break Ian Rush's goal scoring record because it means Liverpool win trophies. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I want the lad to be unbelievable and do well. I want to have a statue outside the Kop. I do. But he can't fucking keep missing big opportunities like this. It's so frustrating. And when Liverpool aren't playing well, opportunities do come sparingly. And you get good ones. You've got to take them. You've got to help us out. You know what I mean? It's frustrating, mate. But I don't know what you do in the second leg. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are at with it. I don't know what the manager does. I think Sam probably gets a start for minutes, Jota. And then before you know it, actually, because the lads who need to get starts, Bashevich was on the bench. They kind of look and go, fucking hell, they're all right. They're better than that team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the lads who need minutes and need to get rid of them, you probably start them in that game. They're actually better than the fucking players who played this week. So it's all a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Could be, if nothing else, to be fresh your legs. I mean, in terms of like the percentage, I'm probably at like 10%, and that really, goes back to what Anand is saying. I think depends on how we start and how we go. I think a couple of things in our favor is, one, Atalanta doesn't know a different way to play. So if they still play the same way, we might be able to. And sometimes if they try to change themselves, and when you're not used to parking the bus and that's not how you play, you don't know how to keep your shape and everything like that, that could play into our hands too. So there is a chance out there. So we'll kind of like talk about, and Jota did have a hat trick. Actually, that was like the trivia question on Monday when we won 5-0 over there. But so here's my thing. Sparky says, think Moen's holidays already. And more important, Ryan says this. If Moen finishes the season like this, do you guys change your tune and sell this summer? I still say, and we kind of like went back and forth on this with Gally, as we always do on the Monday night podcast. Yes. And I think that decision is made, or the parameters of that is set either way. Even if Mo gets a hat trick tomorrow, even if Mo gets like a clunker tomorrow, I think the bigger picture stuff is already set anyway. And I personally think Mo gets, and I know it might be fair because he's the highest paid, blah, 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 but he gets more blame than everybody else, even though to me, everybody's kind of stinking it up, especially up top.
I'm on the opposite side. I feel like he doesn't get enough blame because he is Mo. Like
That's because your boy Nunes gets a lot, so that's probably
no,
what.
it's because I see Nunez gets a lot of blame, but rightfully so. But we tend to always forget that other people had a bad game. So yesterday, Diaz had a howler when he came on. Nunez is Nunez, and then Mo didn't really have a good game.
No.
All I was seeing is Nunez this, Diaz this, Nunez. I'm like, what about the guy on the other side? Like, why is nobody mentioning him? And I feel like fans are starting to understand that these players see these things, and they don't want to say anything that could be so mean. And Mo will be like, okay, now I'm upset. Now I'm going to Saudi. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I don't think Mo gets enough blame, and I don't want him to because he's saved our asses so many times that he's gonna have a bad game or two. So it's fine. But I don't want anybody to feel untouchable. Like yesterday, Jurgen gets a lot of blame. I think he had it wrong to start the game. You didn't start Timika's to start at Sheffield, and you're gonna put him right here on a Thursday night where you need a win. So everybody had it wrong yesterday. So I'm not gonna point one guy out and say, it's almost no. The whole team had it wrong. They let down manager. The manager made the right changes. But I don't think he started the game right. Because yesterday I look at the line, I'm like, why didn't we start out strong and then start sitting him out as the game went on versus start out this way and then start making the changes at the half? I'm slightly frustrated because we played against an Atalanta that was missing their 2 starting center backs. And we played against that Atalanta that came again from an embarrassing loss against the bottom side. And they put that kind of shift against us. That whole picture makes me feel, are the players worn out? Are they tired? Are we going through the quadruple exhaustion again, where they all just kind of gave up, where they were just tired, they were exhausted? Are we going through that same exhaustion? This is what worries me, because we've got the league to play for. They tell me right now, Thursday night or the league, fuck Thursday night, I'll lose 6-0 in Italy.
Yeah. Sure.
Just give me the league. But are they too tired? Are they exhausted? And are they mentally out of it? That's what worries me.
Yeah, see, I don't know. There was a lot of talk about that, Kazi. I'm not like all because that doesn't help this team when we say, "Oh, we'll play the kids over there," like throw Europe away. I mean, there is no guarantee that in the weekend the team shows up. I mean, because these guys are still traveling with them. It's not like you can put nothing but kids. There's only a certain number of people you can throw out there. I just don't understand how that helps. But I think I understand they're tired, and we can kind of say that. But at the same time, man, a lot of people who really put out the stinkers yesterday are guys that should have the fresher legs. They are out there as part of the rotation.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. And listen, I know that I'm with the nan. By the way, I want to say this because it's interesting. The Atalanta performance. Yes, they were poor and they got beat at home, and I get all that. When you come to Anfield, it's an event. You're playing at Anfield. You will show your best. We had this with Sheffield United when they came. They don't want to come and get embarrassed. We're playing at Anfield. We want to fucking come and equip ourselves. I say this all the time, but going to the Emirates and the Etihad is not an event. You're coming to Anfield, it's an event. Atalanta came and had an awesome game plan. Beat us fair and square, no problem at all. Now, going back to the fitness part of this, right? These lads have overperformed massively this season. We know this, Mateus has nailed it. But also, you're missing 3 or 4 starters still, including the best keeper in the world. Like, I don't understand. Like, these lads have performed so out of their level with these injuries, and what they've done this season is insane. It's insane. And now we're just kind of not reverting back to the norm as such, but you're 7 games to go. It doesn't matter how you perform in those 7 games. You just got to win the fucking 7 games. It's not like, we've got to find some form. Form's out the window. It's 7 games. There's no form. I don't care how you play. Win the game. I don't care if you beat fucking Palace 1-0 and Palace have 80% of the ball. I don't give a fuck about form. We've got to win the game because we're at the fucking business end of the season. It's a bad performance, but we need to put it into context as well. It's a horrifically bad performance, but the lads will be embarrassed. The lads will not want that. Do you think the manager wants to go out with that Jurgen Klopp's last ever European game in Anfield?
Yeah.
Do you think Steven Gerrard's last ever game?
Yeah, that's probably one of the worst things, right?
Steven Gerrard's last ever game for Liverpool's getting beat 6-1 at Stoke.
Yeah.
Do you think he wants that on his record? No, but that's life. But to tell you what, mate, remember his last ever European game? Do you remember his last ever league game when he wins the league title? So there's a part of this where this could galvanise the players. This could be like a little come down, a little come to Jesus moment. Do you know what I mean? And you sit there on Friday and go, fuck me, lads, we've got to get our shit
Haven't
together.
we been saying this for like 2-3 weeks now?
Yeah, of course.
We said the FA Cup was the cup of Jesus. You know what I'm saying, though? To be the devil's advocate here.
You've been getting away with murder. Like, let's get it right. And for 3 weeks, Liverpool haven't played well. You've been getting away with it because you're winning games. But we are Liverpool football fans, Tim, right? You've watched enough football, and Andy watched enough football. You'll give teams passes if you win games. You give players passes if you win games. Mo Salah can play shit, but if you score 2, I don't care if you play shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, as long as you score 2. So you can give players passes. But there's a part of this, mate, where you're getting your Trent back, you're getting your Jota back, you're getting your keeper back, Gravenberch is getting fit. You're getting all these kind of players coming back. Before you know it, Liverpool have a completely different starting 11. Joe Gomez looks fucked. He looks absolutely... This is the most football he's played in 5 years, 4 years, and he looks knackered. And it's just like, can we just have a right back? Just to play right back? And a good one in Trent, a good right back. And then you look at Konate. We've been asking for Konate to start the league games. He looks 50 miles off it. He looks off it so much. Like, I don't know what's going on. So, but there's a part of me where you sit there and go, you know what, lads? There's 7 games to go, 7 wins, and that's it. And you've just got to swallow it, and it is what it is. But fucking, I want to say it again, full credit to Atalanta. Unbelievable. That Koopmeiners, what a player. Is that the Calaste or something? Isn't he on loan from AC? He's from AC Milan, isn't he? He was.
I think so. Yeah, he was.
He's
And
so
Scamacca was the guy that West Ham thought they bought. Was he West Ham or Villa?
West Ham.
West Ham, right?
Imagine
like,
David Moyes with him.
We bought this brother, not the other one. Like,
imagine David Moyes with him. Oh my God, David Moyes with him running fucking left wing back.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable. What a footy team. What was some great players, great
managers. I don't want to go back. I mean, we were in the pre-match, Kazi. You know, when we looked at the lineup and stuff, like, I don't want to go back now that the score turned out like this and blame Klopp. I blame
everyone.
That we had a solid midfield. And the back line, you had your starting center backs on. I think the problem is, you felt, okay, Gomez as right back, Costas as left, but the middle is the best part of your team, like your starters, basically. So they'll carry the load. I think the problem is Van Dijk as well. I mean, Van Dijk does not get a pass. I thought he had a horrific game as well. But when those 2 guys who were supposed to carry the back line had a really crappy game. I don't think Konate won a ball in the air. It felt like at one point everything was being brought down.
Scamacca ate him up, didn't he?
Yeah, like it was just bad, and that's odd because it's freaking. I mean, he was in the Premier League, and we saw him. He wasn't all that, but I mean, so that's why I find it hard to go back. Obviously, now when you look with Trent almost there, why didn't we, for example, play Bradley? I mean, Sparky says, don't know what we're saving them for with only a few weeks left. I know, like Klopp is told this guy has 20 minutes, this guy has 30 minutes, blah, 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 whatever the case might be. But is it time to roll the dice a bit more? Because by the time you're like, okay, we can play everybody now, everything could be fucking over anyway.
Yes and no. Okay, roll the dice, but to an extent. Also, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And yes, the past few performances weren't all that, but these are guys that have given us a season to remember. When in the beginning of the season, we're like, hey man, if we do top 4 this year, we're good. We're rebuilding. We're getting better. Now these guys have given it their all. They're challenging for the league. They're playing. They already won a trophy. They're in another quarterfinal. So I wouldn't roll the dice enough to say, you know what, fuck it, let's rotate everyone and let's play everybody else and let's do all this. Stick with the guys that got you here if they're ready to go. Stick with the guys that got us to the place where we could win the league. But don't overdo it. Like, too much faith in players also hurts the team. Giving, like, I'll use Darwin as an example. Too much faith in him now when he's not scoring is going to come back to bite us in the ass. Because how many now we look back and we're like, okay, how many chances did we miss throughout the season to put us 8 points clear in the league or 6 points or 7 or 1 point? Not necessarily that number. We don't want to look back and say, you know what? In that Thursday night game, if we started Jota instead of Nunez, we may have scored that chance and won the game. So take chances, but don't overdo it. But there are obvious ones. If Jota's ready to go 100% on Saturday when we play Palace Sunday, he starts. He starts. Now let him pick up form. And it's a game at Palace, a game he would like, a game that makes sense for him to start. Let him pick up form. Cody did really well yesterday. Start him on the left. Diaz has played 90 minutes in the past 4 or 5 games. He's exhausted. He's tired. his head is already in France because of what his agent's talking about. His other part of his head is in Madrid because his dad's like, I know he's going to end up in Real Madrid. There's so much going on his plate. Sit him out. Let Cody play the left. Let Jota play on that center forward. Keep Mo on the right because he's untouchable, right? But make the changes and see what we can do. It's not about performances now. It's not about being the best performing team out there. It's about fucking winning. And I never thought of it that way until Kazi said it. I don't give a shit if they play like absolute garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it's results now. I mean, it's that time of the season where it's just results. Just get the 3 points, get the tour, get the round, whatever you got to do. We don't care. And I don't think we would, we would still go back and, say, hey, we can't do this in the final or whatever. If they played crap yesterday and they won, we could be like, hey, we got to do a better away. But, you take it and run with it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Anan. Like, yeah, it's like a season to remember, but nobody's going to remember the season if you just end up with it's going to be remembered as a disappointment more than anything else if they finish with just
believe it or not, with it being Jurgen's last season, with everything we've got going on, this could turn into a shit show, and it's going to be a good season to remember because in the beginning of the season, we were like, who is this Zabasazali guy? McAllister, 35 million. I don't know.
You look back at the quad year, don't you get a more sense of a disappointment than achievement?
But that was a year. But the quad year was a year where we had a team that we've had for 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
This team, that midfield has played together for the first time like 7 weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's
but
you can fully play together.
That, but now, I mean, you only pat yourself on the back to a certain point. After a while, you're going to be like, okay, we made it work, and shouldn't you try to catch on?
But what I'm saying, yeah, and I'm with Anan 100% here. It would still be a very memorable season because the injuries have destroyed Liverpool. Absolutely. Who the fuck was Jarrell Kwanzaa in July? Who was Conor Bradley? He was a kid on loan at Bolton. You were farming him out. Like Bobby Clark, James McConnell, Jaden Dans, who were these fucking losers? We didn't know who they were.
10 years down the road. No, I'm not I'm not saying it's been an amazing year, but 10 years down the road, when you look at the 13-14 season,
of course,
you'd be like, oh man, they overperformed, and you would move on. Like, it's not going to be that, memorable. Does that make sense?
In September or November, we were talking about Kelleher. Yeah, just loan him out or sell him. The kid wants to start a bright future somewhere else, and just let him go. We've got Adrian if we need to. We got that Brazilian kid if we need to, but we've got fucking Allison. We don't care. We haven't seen Allison in weeks.
Yeah.
And Keller
really, I mean, he's been out for a long time.
Keller has tanked up. So we're talking about guys. I did not know who Dance is. I had no idea who that guy. And I pride myself in knowing every single fella at Liverpool.
I knew Neil Dan's dad played for Palace.
So we're talking about a team that went out and defeated a $500-600 million Chelsea squad in the cup final. That when we saw that starting 11, we're like, oh, that's gonna be bad, right? Yeah. But here we are talking about the guys did a great job. The whole Jurgen's kids became a thing all over the world. So no, we're not gonna look at the season and be disappointed. We're gonna look at the season and say, holy shit, how did we do this?
I know.
In that season, and it didn't turn out as bad. But the worst that we're going to finish in the league is 3rd. We were okay with 4th as long as we get Champions League football.
Yeah, but okay, that was like 6 months ago, man. You got to change the expectations along the way, don't you, based on performance?
No, you change the expectations, but you don't change your honesty with yourself. Yes, the team started performing.
That's fair.
I'm good with it, but I'm going to be honest here. If I go to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I want $1 million, right? But I was aiming for the $100,000. Anything I do after that, I'm so happy. This is the same thing. These guys, we were happy with top 4. We were like, hey, if we make it to the Europa League final, we'll be good. We did not think we'd be talking about a quadruple in back-to-back seasons after dismantling our midfield, after losing all our players due to injury, and probably most importantly, that Jurgen announcement that he's leaving. That could have tore a whole club down. That could have destroyed everything in a football team.
And you're right 100%, but Sparky's comment's great here, but I could have sworn we've already won a cup, and it was before Easter. That's the first thing. Put Sparky's comment back on. Number 2, we're not one of the best teams. Oh my, who would have thought it? We're overperforming ourselves, guys. We're not one of the best teams in this league. Man City is still the best team in the league. I might do the treble. Like, that is very much still a thing for them. Liverpool, no one in the Premier League right now has more points than Liverpool. No one. That's how Liverpool are like. We have overperformed with the injuries, mate. We've got over the line, Tim. The team isn't as good as what we think it
I
is.
understand we overperformed. I'm not debating that at
That's
all.
it.
I mean, how we won the cup is probably something that I guess we'll definitely take back years
Even in
down
the
the
league.
road.
Even in
But
the league. Go on.
I would still be disappointed if we don't finish with anything else this year.
Always, when your team doesn't finish with a trophy, you're always disappointed. Even when we were shit under
I mean,
Roy
because
Hodgson,
we're at the 100,000 right now, right? We're at the 100,000 right now with the League Cup. In his,
Yes.
He's like, who wants to be a millionaire over there? So we're at the 100,000. You said if we get something else, $1 million would be the treble, right?
Yeah.
I want to be somewhere in the middle with this team. So
that's
really worthy. The overachieving has actually resulted in something huge.
And it's the statement that we're not one of the best teams. We're really not. We're scraping by. When was the last performance where we had like Arsenal's last 8 performances where you're like, holy shit? When was I don't remember us having a performance so good where we're like, oh, okay. I remember us saying, fuck, we're 2-1 down. We've got 4 minutes to go. Whoa, here we go. We've got another one. And scraping by every single game. Now, these are moments that create championships. These are moments that create winning teams. But those are also moments that exhaust the shit out of the players. Just make them tired. They just think about everything.
Can you put Ryan's comment back up? Me,
because I thought we were going to win 0 this year.
Because I've seen us be dog shit. 1 second. No. Hear me out. I've seen us be dog shit for years and not win trophies. And I don't know about you, I love winning trophies. It's really nice. So even if you can get one every single year, do you know how bad we were last year? Do you guys know how bad we were? Absolutely garbage up until March. And then the manager made a change. And then Liverpool kind of kicked on a little bit. Liverpool's target this season was top 4 in a trophy. Would have been a great season. I think Liverpool can still get that target. So let's just relax a bit. We're on a bad. First of all, we're doing this podcast on the day after a bad defeat. I understand.
Yeah.
But Liverpool can go out and be Palace 3-0 and we go, okay, we're going to win the league. So let's just put it all into context for a second. There's still time. There's still chances. Liverpool are still banging a title race.
Would that change how you look at next Thursday? You go out, you freaking hammer Palace. You look more like yourself. Would that change how you approach next Thursday?
If Villa take points off Arsenal on Sunday, which I have a big thing. If Villa take points off them, I'm after like, fuck this, let's go for it. Do you know what I mean? But
that's what I was wondering. Like, do we look at this weekend and determine Thursday that way? I don't think Klopp will. We might in our heads. Go ahead, Anand.
I'm not mistaken to say since Unai Emery took over Aston Villa, Arsenal hasn't beaten Aston Villa, right?
I think something like that. Last time they played, I think there was
something along those lines. Maybe never got 3 points out of. Maybe got
Unai
1
Emery
point.
Back
but
to the Emirates, baby. Emirates, baby.
Maybe I don't think they've gotten 3 points since Emery took over Villa. So that's one positive to look at. But here's another positive to look at. Next season, that's another positive to look at. I know we're hung up on this season. I know we're hung up on the triple or the quadruple. But if it doesn't happen, one trophy for me was a big event. That was a big event for me that day. Because in August, we sat down here in the same conversation and we shared our thoughts and experiences. And we can always go back and look at it. Not a single one of us said we're going to win the league. Not a single one of us said we're going to go all the way to the end of the season. 7 games to go. We're only behind on goal difference. And that's it. We're only behind. And yes, the league's not in our hands, but we've got Arsenal that have got big games. We've got City that have big games. And we got us that we can go on and win all our games, but also we can't. So who would have thought is the question? None of us. Let's be real.
I guess the biggest thing is going to be, I mean, we were talking about this. Actually, there's like a short video, like a clip from it on our YouTube station right now. Because Matush brought up those stats on Monday morning show. We were looking at finishing percentage. And it's crazy, Kazi, when you look at the numbers and when you compare ours to like City and Arsenal, they're like at like 10 point something percent. We're only at, so like if we were finishing at the same rate, converting at the same rate, we would have, it looked like we would have an extra 16 goals or something like that in the league. So God knows how many more points. So in the past, actually, when you go back, like 2-3 seasons ago, even when we did not play well, you were getting some goals. Like you could play average, but the
Because of
guys up
Firmino.
top would make something happen. Is
Firmino,
that what we're
Mane.
really missing ultimately this year? Because when everything is clicking, and we're still getting goals, but you're not getting goals when you're not playing well to get you still points.
Yes. And but that's why clinical strikers are key here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's why when I say I miss Sadio Mane, I miss him more than anything in the world. I miss Roberto Firmino more than anything in the world. We've went from Roberto Firmino to Darwin Núñez, which is like going from fucking Albert Einstein to fucking, I don't know, Banan. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like a genius of a footballer to why settle for one? Joe Hardest to win 2 trophies.
Hold on. Ryan is bringing our receipts from the Patreon content.
No. How was that a silver medal? Winning a trophy is a silver medal. Joe Hardest to win 2 trophies in a season. How many teams do it? Do you know what I mean? Like it's rare as hell. And by the way, I will argue, guys, right, that we do still have it in our hands. Because if Arsenal win the last 7 by going to Wolves, Spurs, and United, then okay. You won't. You will not win all those games. You will not win.
I honestly, when we look at the schedule, City's schedule looks a ton easier with only 2 games like that. The Spurs game, and I actually thought Forest away can be a pain in the ass as well. But Cedric says, starting to wonder if Klopp should have told the players he was leaving to the end of the season. Maybe some of them are worried what will happen to them.
You can't.
That's a part of that. But do you guys also think that it's already a lot of pressure, obviously, right? Chasing these trophies and stuff like that on the schedule. Does it add unnecessary pressure on top of that? Or do you guys think, I mean, part of it is, you're right. If your boss is changing, right? Yeah. There's a new boss coming. There's a new manager for your department, whatever job you're in. There's always that anticipation of what's going to change. Am I going to like the change and stuff? Do you think that factors in some of these tired legs? Because tired minds make tired legs.
No, I don't agree with that. I think, first of all, I think there's a respect element to the manager going to the players. Oh, I'm leaving, and you guys have got decisions to make on your careers. Maybe they just want to play for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, and maybe they get to the end of the season and go, "Well, I don't want to play for another manager at Liverpool. I want to go and try something else then." And because this was the last dance, so there is that argument as well. For the time of you've also can't as well, because the players are going to want to know who's coming in, who you're talking to, what's the plan here. What's our plan for next year? Do you know what I mean? That's all. But I mean, so there's an argument to that. And I think actually it's galvanised the team. I thought it galvanised the team because this team is not as good as what we think it is. You know what I mean? By the way, the first fucking 60 million for Luis Diaz that comes in, I'll be sending him out the door myself. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think he's as good as what people think he is. I don't think he's as good as what he thinks he is. He's an absolute, what are they like a Beyblade, where you just spin them in circles. He's down to do Anthony vibes, man. But I
think he has to be the guy. And I think yesterday, as I was watching that game, especially in the second half, that's the feeling I got. We got quite a few guys who are the guy on their national team, for example, or the team they came from, right? And they have not made the adjustment to being a team player. And I'm not saying they're all selfish or anything, but it's a different concept, different mindset. Mo is a guy who is the guy on his team. Mane was as well, right? Obviously, when you're playing for Liverpool and you're from like a national team that's not one of the top forces, you are probably the best guy on your team coming over.
Exactly.
But when Sadio, when Mo and them played, they kind of still play within the system. Yesterday, I look at Diaz, I look at Szoboszlai, I see guys who are trying to carry the load and be the guy almost
forcing it, aren't they?
Well, Diaz tends to always force it, and it's been working for the past couple of weeks, so it's getting slightly bigger and bigger in his head. But I like to think of Diaz as a very glorified Albert Riera. And listen, he's not bad. He's not a bad footballer. He's just not as good as he thinks he is, and he makes more mistakes than positives. Yesterday, towards the last 5 minutes of the game, he's in the box.
Yeah, he dove into 5 people.
Yeah, he's got 5 people, and he starts going in circles with the ball instead of just laying it. Just let the ball go. But he spins because in his head he's like, okay, when I played for Colombia, I did this in the box. I turned a couple of times, and then because I was playing against Panama, everybody moved away. I shot the ball and it went in. And he tried to do that with 3 minutes left, where we could have potentially gotten one. Szoboszlai, that it still bothered me. That third goal pass. He wanted to be a little fancy with it and come back and turn and do it.
I know.
Dude, just get rid of the ball.
Move
This
the
is
damn
not,
ball.
you're
Yeah,
not playing.
exactly.
Yeah, you're not playing for your national team here. I get it. You're the go-to guy in your national team. I get it. When you played at Leipzig, you were the go-to guy, but it's not it anymore. But I want to go back and say, let's look back at the positives. Last few seasons, we relied on the front three to get us goals. We're getting goals from the middle this season. We're getting goals from midfield. We're also getting
We're not getting goals from the front.
We're getting chances created from our midfield to our front. Back then, it had to be Mo to Sadio, Sadio to Bobby, boom, score. Now we're creating chances from the back and moving up. This team is improving. This team is not as good as we think it is, but this team is getting there. We're missing a couple of pieces. I'm starting to say we're missing a clinical number 9 that's going to put away the chance and then think about it. You guys remember that quote from that one legend? When you're in the box, put the ball in the net and then think about your options?
Yeah, sure.
Right now, Darwin thinks about his options, makes all the wrong ones, but then he's like, that could have worked. Put the ball in the net, worry about your options. We get a clinical number 9 next season, this team is different. We get this midfield another preseason together to gel, this team is different. And we get another center back, this team's different.
I mean, by the way, that is a clip waiting to happen that you already are replacing. Ryan says too many clever. I don't care about. I mean, if it is natural, like Bobby would do a lot of that stuff, but it wasn't to be cute. That's how he played and stuff. And when it works, it flows. I feel like we do that stuff once we're stuck. And there's a huge difference between a give and go with a back heel or whatever compared to, somebody doing like dancing in front of 3 people, can't figure out what the hell to do and try to back heel it somehow. That's, I think, when it's like, what are you doing over here? Ross says we were found out yesterday. Got to remember we're Liverpool, though. Likelihood of us going to Atalanta and winning is it impossible? Jota is out on number 9 and will be crucial. And in some ways, Kazi, I think Ross is a good point. You might say, hey, you have that guy who can finish. But reliability is kind of a factor with him, isn't it?
And he was in the form of his Liverpool career before he got injured. Yeah. He was excellent, and he was carrying us through games just with his finishing alone. So, yes, this is I keep saying it. If you actually look at the team that starts, and a lot of them, you'd argue that they're not our best players this season. Robertson would play left back. Matip was in the form of his life before Matip's injury, unfortunately. Yeah. Matip was out. We forget about Matip. Trent's our best right back, whether you like it or not. Do you know what I mean? Curtis Jones has been one of our best midfielders this season. You start to look at Jota as being one of our best strikers. You start the keeper. You start to look around and think, we are missing these players, but also they need to get back to fitness. So you need passes. Curtis Jones was poor last couple of games.
Yeah, he was.
But he needs time to get back up to where he was. Jones has always been like that, by the way. He's always needed 4 or 5 to get back. So there's a part, and that's why I'm trying to put all this into context of like, we're close again, to having a fully strength squad. We're very close. I know we're all losing our minds because Liverpool have lost a home game for the first time in 14 months. So I know we're all losing our minds a little bit because it doesn't happen often. So our last home game that we lost was Real Madrid, 5-2. Yeah. That was our last home game.
Like to me at least, I should say, not for everybody. Everybody will lose their mind the moment we don't win. But I'm just saying, I think the manner we lost in was more worrying.
I'm not justifying the lads. They were absolutely horrific. All of them. Even Cody Gakpo's half decent performance. He wasn't great. He was half decent. He looked like a
relatively better. Yeah.
When you park a Ferrari next to a bunch of fucking trash ass cars, it's gonna look good, but it's still not necessarily the best car. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was just a competent professional footballer yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all he was. But he looked great. So it's like, what?
But even he was doing the same thing I'm talking about sometimes. Like, just it feels like we don't move, like we were not moving the ball as much, and it makes it a lot easier to defend. I know that Club was talking about how they were playing man-to-man, and it's a bit harder and stuff like that. But, man, we have, like, so many quality players out there who should be able to beat their man in a man-to-man. It should make life easy. If the ball is moving to the right person, isolate Mo, isolate Diaz and stuff like that instead of,
Every single one of them. I blame the manager. I blame the players. Every single one of them did not equip themselves yesterday correctly. And I'm not even going to talk about the fans and that, right? Because that's just an absolute sideshow, right? In terms of blaming that for the excuses. You still got to go out and put a performance in. You've still got to go out and have a professional pride in your game.
Yeah.
And when you're getting ram ragged by everyone, then that's on you. That's not on the fans, mate, because we're not.
But I
playing.
mean, here's the thing.
had a
Don't you
big-
put? We talked about it on what was that Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
About the protests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was a real. I mean, for the flags, do they make such an impact? I think it made more of an impact in terms of there's a difference between coming out to the regular Anfield and coming out to an Anfield, right? So. At the same time, was that like a ridiculously poor timing?
Let me say, I think the only person that can give us insight is Cosby, because he's been in those nights. The only times I've been to Anfield were Premier League games. I did not attend any Champions League games in Anfield. So here's what I'll say, though. Were we not the team that won the league with no crowds in the stadiums, period?
At the end.
We had already won the league by the time there were no crowds.
But we performed. We played well. We performed. We played well. We were just fine. The next season started. The fields were limited to 30 and 40 and 50% capacity. We did just fine. If we're going to go out there and blame this on flags, we've got a big problem to worry about.
I'm not blaming it, but you can't deny it's a part of it.
Yeah,
I got in a big debate yesterday where this guy...
Sorry,
quick. I got in a big debate yesterday with this guy who said, you're a foreigner, you're a day tourist, you know nothing. I'm like, well, I've been there. Not a European, but you're right. I am a foreigner, so tell me more. Well, those flags, they do this and they do that. I'm like, I respect what you're saying. But if our very highly paid players can only perform when there's flags, we have a big problem. We have a big problem. Kazi, you tell us, because you've been there, you've held those flags, and you stood there.
I'll tell you right now, Tim, right, this is the frustrating part when you just said the timing. Was the timing right? Was the timing right for the club to announce that?
But they have to announce that anyway, don't they, for next season? That's what I was wondering, because we talked about that and people were talking about, well, their timing, but don't they have... I don't know when they announce the next season's tickets or whatever to be on normally. And I think when they announce it, obviously the price gets announced at the same time, right?
They took the piss. Let's get it right. They took advantage, right? Liverpool are flying. It's Klopp's last season, right? And we can basically... We went up 2% last year. We didn't say anything. You're going up 2% this year. And I keep saying it. It's not 2%. You're playing extra games in the Champions League. There's your revenue. The price of the Europa League tickets are like £40. Champions League tickets are like 58 quid. It actually works out closer to 10%.
I mean, okay. So, we argued it on Wednesday, and I think we can...
Getting at this, Tim. When do you take a stand then? When do you take a stand and say, no, you're taking the piss? You're taking the fucking piss now. When do you do it? You do it now. And by the way, if Liverpool win 3-0, then we all talk about the flags. No, we don't. No,
but okay, here's the thing. I'm not saying it was the flag's fault, but I mean, actually, even without the flag, forget the flag. I thought it was like really dead there yesterday.
Sorry.
It was really dead there yesterday, even if they had flags.
You know performance. I would not be cheering that on. I would be fucking silent.
Okay, this is what I was saying on Discord yesterday too. We can't come over here. You guys got to pick a battle here. You can't come over here and say that, like, it doesn't matter, these guys are professional, so they should go out and play. Which, yes, it's no, I'm not saying like the flags were an excuse or anything, but on the second breath say, oh, we have the best atmosphere, Anfield nights are different because, when teams come, they play different because the crowd comes in and stuff. So you're clearly noticing the impact it makes. So you can't say it didn't make an impact afterwards when it doesn't go your way.
Okay. Let me start with this. Correct me if I'm wrong. The city of Liverpool isn't the city that has the wealthiest people in the world that are all working those big $1 million.
Okay, I'm not discussing the increase. I'm discussing the impact of it. We discussed it on Wednesday. You missed that show. But I'm talking about the impact of it. You guys are saying it didn't have any impact, which I find it hard to believe.
Okay, hold on. You keep increasing the tickets on those people. This is not Miami, where when the tickets went from $42 to $370 when Messi came, they were like, oh, yeah, totally fine. It's Miami. This is the city of Liverpool, where those blue-collar workers have built this city, have built this stadium, have built this club, have done everything for this club. And you keep increasing the tickets on them. And I posted this. A day tourist like me can get a ticket easier than a local kid who's been there his whole life. And any of us here in the U.S. can get a ticket easier than some of those people that have been there their whole life because we're corporate people, or we're tickets, or we're Americans, or we're foreigners who can sit in the upper ante and get those hospitality packages, right? Those people that live there, that extra 10 pounds or 6 pounds or 12 pounds, that comes out of their money, their family's money, and now they got to pay it because the club. Yes, there's inflation, but people are getting a little greedy.
I understand.
Okay, let's move on from this.
Not happy with the price increase.
Okay.
I'm talking about the impact.
Sure, let's talk about the impact. Let me talk about the impact. If these people who cannot afford these tickets don't go to games anymore, are you going to get that impact anyway?
No.
You're losing that because you've got a bunch of. I saw this the kids doing TikTok in the stands.
So, okay, answer this because we're going to be here 3 hours otherwise. Answer this. Did the fans make a negative the lack of the atmosphere impact the game at all yesterday? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did the lack of the atmosphere?
Okay.
But is it enough for us to get battered 3-0 at home by Atalanta?
No,
because
I'm not
people
saying it's the only reason. I'm just saying it's a reason.
It's not even close to being the reason, though. It's a very small part of the reason. It might be 3% of the reason. Because you still want to go out. You get paid 200 grand a week
but
to
they
go
get
out
that
and
every
get
week.
ragged by a bunch of bums in Serie A.
No, but they get that every week. They get that
mean?
when they go to Luton Town.
So let me ask you. When we play
the fucking flag didn't fucking miss the City that Darwin Núñez did he? It's on the flag.
No,
well, you got to take a stand.
I'm not saying it's the reason. I'm saying you guys are downplaying like any impact of it, and
that's why you always have the home advantage because your fans are there. So no, it had an impact, but is it an impact big enough to lose 3-0 at home to a struggling Atalanta side?
No, did
the flags make Szoboszlai have such a shit game? Did the flags give Konate such a bad performance? Is it fatigue or is it the flags that did Joe Gomez that bad? I get it. There's an impact, sure. But that can't be even in the list of excuses of why we lost the game because we've only got ourselves to blame. Yes. We were absolute dog shit. Okay. And I guarantee you if the flags would have been 3-0.
Reason, but I'm saying if that wasn't happening, maybe this game doesn't go south as much.
You might lose 2-0.
Well, then you'd still be in the round, though. You know what I mean?
Let's blame the flags then, because we conceded an extra goal.
Okay, so you guys are see. This is what I don't understand. I am acknowledging the fact that it's not flags. You guys are pounding on these flags. Fuck the flags. Okay, even if they had flags, that fucking place was quiet. Okay, one way or the other. So
because
I don't care about the flags. My thing is, you can't come here and say the fans and the flags don't make a big impact.
I'm not saying.
And then when we win at home, the fans take a ton of credit for what.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
Guys are getting 200,000. They were going to win anyway. I just happen to be sitting here waving.
Fine. Let me say this.
Both ways.
Let me say this. Let me put it this way. I have no say on the home fans because I'm not there. I have no say. But I'll tell you this. Keep increasing those tickets. There's going to be more of me's in that stadium than more of those locals. Let me put it that way. And that becomes a problem because not only one game with no flags in atmosphere, it becomes so many games with no flags in atmosphere. And I don't want that to happen. I hate seeing it. The Champions League, the Europa League final, we're allocated 12,000 tickets if we get it. The other team's allocated 12,000 tickets. That's 24,000. The stadium seats 52,000. More than half of the stadium won't have both fans because we're switching with the game is going, and it's been for the supporters, for the poor, for the regular, for the fancy, for the rich, for the visitors, for the tourists. And that's a problem.
Well, that's not going to change. And that's the
it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. And that's why you take a stance now when you can.
Like that for freaking decades. That's the way it is. I mean, especially for the finals, the sponsors go that. I am not. We talked about this already on Wednesday, Kazi. The increase, you might argue, you might be a lot, it might not be a lot. You can argue that. I'm just only saying yesterday's game was impacted by it. It might not have been 3-0, like you're saying. It might have only been 2-0, but that would have, in my mind, increased the chance from 10 to 20. It doesn't excuse the shit performance out of everybody that was out there, maybe except a few. But you can't deny the impact and then take credit when it works for the team. And not like diminish it when it doesn't. That doesn't make sense.
I've been to Anfield many times. Anfield, right, like guys, always needs a spark to get it going.
Any team does.
It always needs. I always go back to the Arsenal game last year when it's 2-0 up, and then Xhaka kicks Trent, and you sparked it. Yeah. And then like you can come here and beat us, no problem. You don't come here, fella, and think you can kick us around, fella, and think you can fucking beat. You know what I mean? Like
the game Arteta got into it with.
That was the game. And then we draw 2-2. And by the way, Liverpool win the next 10. So it's just it's always a ground that needs
And
a
the
spark.
season goes downhill.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So there's always it's always been like that, by the way. So this thing of like this myth of like you come and it's fucking near and now before the ground, before the kickoff, and it's always like this. It's never like that, but it needs a kick up the arse sometimes. Those players, and that's from the players. It can be a big tackle. It can just be a big chance, getting into a fight, getting into an argument. Give us something to go off.
You're not going to get the constant 90 minutes.
Fans don't even turn on their team like Arsenal did, right? Like for the last 5-6 years, Arsenal fans, it just goes quiet. It becomes like a theater.
Yeah. So
they don't there is not a no booing, blah blah blah. It just gets nervous and quiet. It feels
even in the Barcelona comeback pre-game, fans are going crazy. First 6-7 minutes, the fans are going crazy, and then they start to watch. Yeah. And then the spark comes, that goal comes, the chance creation happens. Boom, they go.
4th minute, Origi scores.
I felt like Jota's entrance was the only thing that made a little spark, and that was it yesterday. But okay, so on Sunday against Palace, do they? I mean, we talk about the bounce back. Does the place also bounce back, knowing this might be our last?
No,
you don't think so?
They're doing the same. They're doing the same thing again. There's no flags again. They're doing the same thing. They said unless we have a sit down with the club.
I don't think the flags. I mean, when you come out, it's the regular atmosphere compared to the other one. Aside from the flags, it was just like a flat, quiet. I know when there's shit on the pitch, it's hard to get excited on the side. Yeah. But that's one they kind of need the push and the drive and stuff like that too.
And I get that, yeah. So but I expect a reaction anyway because the players are going to give a reaction.
Yeah, I guess
that's. They can't throw in another 90 like that, Tim, can they? If they throw in another 90 like that, mate, I'll be fucking flying back to England to choke Darwin Núñez out. So we can't throw another 90 in like that. They just can't. You know what I mean?
Book those freaking flights.
I will fucking choke that fucker out, honestly. The big fucking dinosaur.
Dude, even Anand is abandoning him over here.
even Anand's like, I'll get him in the ankle lock if you're going to choke him out.
Don't think we missed that, Anand. Don't think we
abandoning him. I'm not abandoning him, but I've been a lot of the Darwin things. It's funny. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's Darwin. But I'm also seeing that it's my club's being affected by his inconsistency, but most importantly, his recklessness when in front of goal.
Yeah.
And I'll take Andre Voronin against Toulouse for over the way Darwin's been missing those chances. Because I look at it, it's 11 points we could have gotten in the league just based on missed opportunities. I was watching, a video about this, but it's okay. It's fine. 7 games to go.
I know. Let's go positive, innit? Positivity. Come on, fella.
Jota's back. We're okay.
Sunday, real quick before we go. Obviously, we'll be here for the pre-match once we find out who's playing. But who do you think? I guess the front three is the biggest question I have, Kazi. Who do you think starts up top?
I don't think that is the biggest question. I think centre half is. I think is it Kwanzaa? I don't know. I think it's a tough one. But we all agree that Canati's the best centre half. But does Kwanzaa need a bounce back after United? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. But the front three, I think he goes Salah. I don't think Jota starts. I think he probably goes Diaz and Núñez. I don't think Jota starts. I think it's a little bit too early. Still,
I think so too.
I know.
But, this is what we always come to, right, Kazi? If I tell you, if your club. If I tell you Jota has 45 minutes, because we talked about, how many minutes these guys had the physio department, would you rather not start with them and say, maybe we can score and actually put the game away as opposed to chase?
And that's a very, very fair point. But there's an argument is you get tired legs second half. You can get tired legs and win the game that way. And that's what, by the way, that's what Liverpool have done a lot this season. We're playing against tired legs. We score goals later on and you can beat them. Do you know what I mean? That's what Liverpool have done that a lot in their comebacks. Because Liverpool can outwork you. That's what's been happening anyway. But I know what you're saying. But I think the argument is the right back as well. I think the defence has more questions than the actual front three, if I'm honest.
Really?
Because what would you start? Do you start Bradley?
I think so. The fact that we didn't see Trent yesterday tells me he's not going to start.
But he also made 3 subs. That was circumstances winning. I think if Liverpool win 3-0, Trent gets 20. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So
I agree.
That was the circumstances, maybe. So do you do Bradley for 60, Trent for half?
It put us in a really weird spot because I was like, do you put Trent in to get some balls into the box because we had numbers in the box, or do you put Jota in who can finish those? When we were only down to one substitution, it was kind of like a tough choice to make.
Yeah, it was.
But just the fact that he doesn't have real game minutes, I just don't see him like starting out cold turkey in 11.
Yeah, I think we're at a stage where we're like, is it who we want to? Yeah, is it who we want to start? Or who we think is going to start?
Yeah.
I
want to start.
Yeah,
I want me and you to start at the moment.
Yeah, at this point, fucking Jurgen up top. But here's who I want to start: Mo, Jota, and Gakpo. I want Gakpo on the left. I want Jota in the center. And I want Mo on the right. Who is going to start? Mo, Darwin, and Diaz. Yeah. We're in that stage of the season where we want this, but it's not going to happen because of injuries and fatigue and people coming back from injury.
Like to play the devil's advocate and to play Kazi, you always give me this whenever I bitch about the inverted right back. Couldn't the manager say, "Hey, they're the ones who freaking brought us here. We've been winning. Look at where we're at with this."
Most definitely.
That's why they're going to start.
That's why they're going to start. Yeah. But I mean, listen, Liverpool in a do or die situation. Liverpool can't afford to drop any more points. Liverpool in do or die. This is it. Like, this is the game. This is what you've asked for. You've asked for this. You've got this. Like, and the biggest question I have this weekend, again, as much with Kwanzaa and Trent and Jota and Robertson, is the fucking keeper back. Because as bad Liverpool were yesterday, the keepers let 2-1.
Yeah, that's one like where he's not going to get 50 minutes or anything. He's either going to come out.
You start because you're the keeper. So the argument is our fucking keeper back. Because I tell you right now, guys, I don't know how you guys will feel, but if I get that lineup on Sunday morning and I see Alisson in goal, I don't care who the fuck's up front and I don't care who the plays centre half because we have to go back. Do you know what I mean? We have an argument.
That's a plot. I mean, nothing against Kelleher, but that's probably. I mean, as a defender, I know the guy behind you adds 10 to 15% confidence in what you're doing.
He should have saved 2 yesterday, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? He should have.
I agree. Like, for example, the one that looks like a great goal, was that the second one?
Yeah.
I don't know why he's waiting in his line for that because there's no danger from the side. I don't know if Ali would be a lot more alert and intercept the ball coming in.
Ali will come out and make
find it hard to blame him because he did have some huge saves too.
But he's dropped
he did. No, and he
had a couple of huge saves and he's got away with it because the team was so bad. But
true.
And he's done a lot for us over the last 8 weeks, so it's not like we're bashing him. No, you've done your job. You've done what you were expecting to do.
Yeah.
He's going to leave this season. He's going to go on and have a great future. All is good.
He's not Ali though.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, that's not phases. Nobody.
And I don't want to say it that way, but he's just. You've done your job. You're a role player, and you have played that role. And we move on.
Yeah.
So, you're a lovely fella.
Yeah.
But you're not Ali.
Look at this. We're us agreeing or something. God, you guys exhaust me on Friday
morning. Devil's advocate today, heavy. You've been playing devil's advocate today, heavy, like real heavy. I don't know what you drank this morning. You got some devil juice in there.
If you want to feel like this in the morning, you got to drink reckless coffee, guys.
It's Friday, baby. It's
reckless.
Friday for
it's reckless. And listen, if Alisson is back, we have an opportunity of him scoring higher than fucking Darwin right now because we've seen Alisson when it's clinical with that header. I haven't seen Darwin do that.
I'm back into the absolute fucking babyface turn that Anand's made, man. An absolute babyface he is. Isn't he? Hulk Hogan in the 80s. He's just come down.
Early predictions.
Go on.
Kazi, let's start with you.
Liverpool. Oh, fuck me. 3-0. I expect a performance. I'm saying 3-0 on the back of Ali being in goal, to be honest.
Okay. Man, I would not bet for a clean sheet. But it's like roulette. Like, that number has not come up, so do you put it on there because we haven't had a clean sheet in once? But how about you, Anand?
I'm gonna go 2-0.
Oh, fuck's sake, Sparky. Jesus.
What is Sparky had some negative juice this morning.
Hey, these are shitbags. Everyone's a shitbag in these groups, man, in these chats. Shut the fuck up, Liverpool. We have a bad performance. Who cares? Just go out and beat Palace.
But I don't like the 1-1.
But in a title race, win 7 games of footy. I don't care how you play. Win them. I think we win the league. That's my opinion. I think Arsenal.
I think so too. Yes, if you win the 9, you definitely win the league.
I think if you win all 7, you win the league. Doesn't matter how you play. Doesn't matter what the performance is like. Hold the line, boys. Back our lads. Come on.
We're only, with the goal difference, only 7 goals. No,
9. I think
9.
It's 9. I think we had to gain 1.4 every. We talked about it on Monday. It's on like 1.5 goals a game or something.
Listen, it's doable. I know it's crazy. I know nobody's thinking of it this way.
It's not doable.
But it's doable. We got fucking Darwin Núñez. It's doable.
Exactly. That's
Kelly's
exactly the
coming
point.
back. It's doable. No, honestly, even though it is doable,
not
I don't think
doable.
it's necessary. If you win all
I think
seven,
it's necessary. I don't think it's
doable.
necessary.
If it's
Also,
not saying it's doable, it's not doable.
yeah, let me give you guys a bit of news that we didn't bring up today. Stupidest news ever, but I have to. Thiago indirectly hinted that he's done with professional football yesterday.
No, that is newsflash.
Indirect.
Well, I thought he was done 12 months ago.
Yeah. No, it was indirect that he is done with professional football. He is now officially on the indoor Spanish national team, the futsal team.
He's a physio.
No, he's a
He's
he's
learned so much.
By the way, I want to see Thiago in a 5-a-side. That sounds
Exactly. That's why I was so sad, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, this could be fun."
Yeah,
So-
I will. Yeah, I reckon
So he posted that. He posted the Spanish national team indoor team futsal team posting him, and then I think like 2 hours later he took it down. I think the club was like, "Dude, what the fuck? We're paying you, and you're." So I think Thiago's done professional football, but I don't know. This is me starting a serious rumor, but he did post that. The Spanish national team posted that, and then they kind of took it down. So
That's some reckless predictions by you over there. Yes. Thanks for the
Lads,
weekly Thiago
7
update.
wins. 7 games to go, 7 wins. That's it.
Yeah,
Palace
honestly,
is
yeah.
good.
If we get the 7 wins, I don't think the goal difference is going to be even an issue. I think Arsenal
Jota,
will drop some.
Trent, Ali, we're all back, baby. The fucking band are coming back together.
All
The
back
last time-
except the
By the
flag.
way, did you think Liverpool were going to win a league easy? We've done that once in my whole life. Do you think Liverpool were going to do anything easy? We do it the hard way.
Yeah,
gonna
that's
go
why
down to the
that
last kick of Wolves.
season
if
felt
it's
odd.
easy,
'Cause
it's
it was
not
almost-
worth it. That's the rule. If it's easy, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Absolute Gomez winning against Wolves to win the league. It's the most Liverpool thing ever.
Well,
Fuck.
thanks a lot as always. People joining us, listen to us, yell at each other. These Fridays are exhausting, man. I got to work after this. How are we supposed to do that? But we'll be here Sunday for the pre-match right before Reckless Friday is over. As always, do us a favor, go grab somebody by the ears and have them follow this comedy. We'll be back. Join us Sunday for the pre-match right after the starting 11s come up. Have an awesome weekend. Take the Saturday. Enjoy the freaking Saturday. Torture is back right and early Sunday morning. So we'll see you guys then. Take care.